Are we sharing any like thoughts that we have about
We'll get
car
there.
sex, or is it okay?
We'll get there. Yes. We trialed this, guys. We did some real homework, okay? We did research for science for you guys. So there is legit research on this, okay?
You're welcome, everybody. Hi there, you're listening to the Kingdom Sexuality podcast. We're Alana, Kyle, and Tira, friends who have a heart for intimacy and long to uncover God's truth and design for sexual freedom within marriage. If you enjoy listening to our episodes or like our content over on Instagram, would you consider leaving a review or subscribing? It really helps. Welcome here.
All right, welcome back for another episode of the Kingdom Sexuality podcast. I am Kyle, joined by my beautiful co-hosts Tira and Alana. Special welcome to all of our patrons who are listening. Thank you guys for your support. If you are listening and would like to support the show, get free stuff, see our hump day positions every Wednesday, and have a say in what we record, head over to patreon.com/Kingdom Sexuality. Today's verse is from Song of Solomon, chapter 7, verses 11 to 12. Come, my beloved, let us go out into the fields and lodge in the villages. Let us go out early to the vineyards. There I will give you my love.
I love that you chose that one.
Yeah.
Before we dive into this exciting episode, we're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors that helps make this show possible. All right, we're back. So today we're talking about car sex. You guys have asked us to cover this because some of you just don't know the logistics and you have been asking, how do we even make this work? Where do we go? What do we do? And we're going to tell you. The first thing we have to address is the legality of the situation, because that is always the first thing that comes up. Is this legal? Is this illegal? Am I going to go to jail? What if we get caught? Yada, yada, yada. So because we're Canadian, I looked up Canadian law, and because 90% of you are American, I looked up American law. And in both countries, it said the same thing. There is no criminal law that specifically states that it is illegal to have sex in a car. However, if two people are performing sexual acts or engaging in sexual conduct in a public area and within public view, they may be charged with a crime if caught. So in Canada, it's illegal to have sex in public, but you can have sex in your car if you are not seen by others. The same applies to the USA. There's no jurisdiction in the US that has a law that specifically states it is a crime for people to have sex in a car. So car sex is legal. What is illegal is having sex in a public space within public view and being caught. So depending on, this is American now, depending on your jurisdiction, you could face charges of lewd conduct in public, public indecency, indecent exposure, or disorderly conduct. Most of these are charged as misdemeanors, and a conviction will lead to a maximum of 1 year in jail. And you may have to register as a sex offender.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine, like, going to jail and they're like, yeah, I'm here because I had sex
What are you
with my
in for?
husband."
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you can also be charged with a sex crime if you do the following: commit sexual intercourse, engage in sexual activity, or partake in some similar dissolute conduct while in a car, and they do so in a public place where people can see what is happening. So the next thing is, okay, what is defined as public? A public act is generally one that affects the whole people of a community. However, whether or not sex is considered a public act is largely dependent on the laws of the applicable jurisdiction and the facts of the case. So keep in mind, a sexual or lewd act would be considered public if they occurred in a car located on or in a parking lot, a public park, a sports complex, and or an alleyway clearly visible by passersby.
Or on the street.
Or on the street, or any, all these, these, yeah, exactly. So all that being said, yes, it sounds super, super serious, but the fact of the matter is, very rarely are these charged and convicted, and even when they do, it's very rarely at the maximum sentence.
How many? Like how many?
I didn't get any exact numbers. I have a couple stories to share of court cases later on.
Mm-hmm.
But one legal firm that had tried some of these cases, they said it is questionable if state law would criminalize sex in a car where there was little, if any, chance for a person to actually see inside the vehicle. basically, it's my summary of all of this was that the law was much less strict than I was expecting in reality after reading the way that it's worded. So a lot of cases that were brought before the courts actually went in favor of the accused. And a lot of times it came down to the fact that the accused were trying to be discreet and got caught on an off chance. So their intentions were, hey, we're in a place that is private and not a lot of people come, and we happen to get caught by chance because the one-off time that someone actually came there. So there's actually a really famous Canadian case in Vancouver, near where I live. It was 1981. A couple were in a car in Vancouver in a public area that was secluded, and a police officer went up to the car with his flashlight on and illuminated them while they were having sex in the car. And the couple was acquitted on the basis that it was clear that where they were was a place that they did not want to be seen. So they had made effort to seclude themselves from public view, and the police officer happened to be there. So
Snoop them out.
again, the summary is you can do it, but be away from the public view. Not just out of, like, you're going to be in public unless you're on private property. If you're in public, you need to be out of public view. So you need to be where the general public will not see you.
This is funny that we talk about the legalities, because that has never crossed my mind, even for a fraction of a second, that it might be illegal.
Really?
No.
Interesting.
So now that you say that, I'm like, oh, well, now I'm going to be worried next time.
So when you guys realize Tira hasn't been on an episode in 6 months to a year, she's in the slammer.
Making her own prison break episodes.
Maybe we'll
Wild.
petition the courts for an exemption to get you a mic in there. Tira's recording from prison today.
Yeah.
Can you tell those guys and girls to keep it down, please? All right.
Wild.
So that's the legality of the situation. Again, it's not illegal, but it can be if you are doing it in public view of the general public. So wherever you choose to do it, get secluded, get as private as possible, and you're probably going to be okay. But this is not legal advice. None of us are lawyers. If you get caught, consult your own lawyer. Don't call me. All right. So let's go over some best practices. So in general, outside of all the legality talk, here are some things that you should keep in mind. First and foremost, both of you should be in agreement that you're like good to do this in the car and do it where you are, which leads us to our second best practice is to be secluded. Don't do it like those places said, not the mall parking lot or the park parking lot or the church parking lot. I mean, maybe the church parking lot's good on like a Thursday night when no one's there. But
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
be as private as possible.
Until a youth group shows up on Thursday night.
Oh, man. And you can use Google Maps. If you go onto Google Maps and turn on satellite mode, you can see like the terrain around in a certain area, and you can be like, hey, this might be a good spot. It's funny because I was writing this episode last night with my wife, and we were talking about like, hey, where around our house would actually be a good spot that would be private enough that has a low chance of getting caught. And it took us a while. Like we had to go a decent ways from our house to get to a spot that is like would make us both feel safe enough. And I live in a farming community, so there's a lot of side roads and farms and stuff, but they're all kind of like off main roads. So anyways, you can use Google Maps, turn on the satellite mode, and you can see all the stuff around you, and you can plan your experience.
Rendezvous.
Yeah.
Now, you can also, like, if you are wanting to do car sex and you can have that as a part of your date is the scouting out where to go, because it just builds anticipation.
Totally.
And so you're like, oh, will this be a good spot? Oh, no, not quite. Okay, we got to wait a little longer. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah.
And if you've never done it and you are just like want to dip your toes in, do it in the garage. Like if you're one of those people that parks their car in the garage, which is not a thing where I live because everyone has too much stuff. But if you put your car in the garage and try it there, and that'll help you guys learn positions and what works and what doesn't based on your vehicle, which we'll get to later.
Okay, wait. Are we sharing any like thoughts that we have about car sex, or is it okay?
We'll get there. Yes. We trialed this, guys. We did some real homework. Okay. We did research for science for you guys. So there is legit research on this. Okay.
You're welcome, everybody.
Okay, next best practice. Tinted windows or sunshades are going to help increase the level of privacy and, in turn, your level of comfort. What you wear is going to help a lot, ladies. So if you can wear a dress or something that is easy to just lift up and have easy access, if you've got a pair of mentionables crotchless panties, that will help.
And maybe guys wear kilts. I mean, that's like easy access for both.
Yes, there we go. Kilts. Yes, I have to get mine out and laundered. Oh my goodness. So yeah, what you wear will help a lot. And then don't forget about cleanup. Okay, so whatever you guys do for cleanup, have a tissue, towel, whatever it is that you guys use to clean up nearby. And if you use condoms, your cleanup's super easy. So yeah, some people, so we asked you guys on Instagram what your kind of advice was. And a lot of people said, like, we use a condom for this just because it makes the cleanup and the getaway quicker. Actually, it's actually funny. So we put out, I'm going to try to find the exact wording of what I said. The question box was, what advice do you have for those wanting to try doing it in a vehicle? And so many comments were just don't. Like, you guys are no fun.
Wow.
So yeah, we got a few more best practices and then I'll read some of your guys' feedback. Best practice, another one. Keep the engine turned off because unless you are somewhere where it's well ventilated, we don't want anyone to get carbon monoxide poisoning. So if you're in the garage, okay, don't turn it on.
Yeah.
If you are like in a snowbank, don't turn it on because you're probably not gonna have good ventilation depending on how high the snow is. So unless it's well ventilated, but like if people pull off at the side of the road,
guys,
it's winter and you're pulling off to the side of the road.
And you drive into a snowbank and you need to keep warm, don't turn the engine on, just have sex. And everybody will be
safe. Exactly.
All these people listening from like southern states are like, in what scenario am I driving into a snowbank?
Yeah, exactly.
In Canada, we're like,
soda in Canada here, okay? But yeah, when your car is parked and the car is on, there's nowhere for the exhaust to go and it can come into the vehicle. And I would hate for this to happen to anyone. So keep the car off if at all possible. And bring something for comfort. So maybe a pillow or a blanket that you can use as a pillow, because most things in the car that you would end up laying on or putting your head on are hard. Like the armrest things and all the hard plastic around. So what is so funny?
I just love watching Tira's face.
Just laying your head down, and most things are going to be hard in the car. Okay.
Grow up, Tira. And lastly, just be aware of what is around you that could be a hazard, right? The seat belts. If you have a standard car, the gear shifter, or your automatic car, seatbelt latches. Yeah, anything that can cause an injury, just be aware of what's around you before you give someone a concussion or cut something. Okay, I'll read some of the feedback here from Instagram that you guys had. So number one, everyone said, like, get private, find a secluded spot. Tinted windows, which we heard about. This was a really good advice, actually. Crack a window. Get some ventilation going in the car, because between you guys and your body heat and your breath and just the general temperature of air being trapped, you're going to create condensation and heat, and it will get uncomfortable. Unless it's like winter, then you're creating your own heat, then that's fine. But crack a window and get some ventilation going.
Just don't be too loud then, because people are going to hear you.
Isn't that like the first dead giveaway that you're having sex, is that it's a steamy car? Like,
yeah, so crack a window.
It's like in a movie or something, you know, like when you're in a drive-through movie, you know, when you can see the cars that are steamed. And that's
right.
Nice. Okay, then there were some really funny ones. Like someone said, put it in park first. Someone said, park with a good view. And then here, like 3 in a row. Don't. Yeah, tinted windows. Bigger vehicles are better, which we'll get to. We'll go over all the different types of vehicles coming up. Yeah, so you guys were definitely helpful, and so we'll talk about the different types of vehicles. So I broke this down into if you have like a sedan or a hatchback, an SUV, and then if you have a truck, and then I even threw in like a work vehicle, like the bigger trucks.
What about the cars that they don't have a driver? They just self-drive.
Well, then you just do it the whole time.
But is
That's
there like
the easiest
cameras
one.
in there? Does it have a camera though?
Well, if you own it, no. But like if it's a self-driving Uber, you're probably not doing it in there.
Yeah.
Or maybe you are. I mean, at your own risk, I guess.
Wild times to be alive.
Okay, so a sedan. So if you don't know what this is like a 4-door car or a hatchback, which would be where the trunk opens all the way straight up, or a coupe, which is like a 2-door. Anyways, a car, okay? A car, not an SUV or a van or a truck. We're just going with cars.
Got it.
So if you want to do it in the passenger seat, push the seat all the way back. Give yourself as much room as possible. And it's probably going to be best if he sits in the seat and she's on top. And she'll be like kneeling on him because there's not going to be a lot of space for her feet to go like around him or anything. So she'll be kneeling on top of him. It'll be like cowgirl basically. If you want to do it in the back seat, push the front seats all the way forward. Give your guys as much space as you can. And then you might even have enough room to like have your spouse lay on the back bench, and then you can get on the floor on your knees and give them oral sex. And this will also open you guys up to more positions. So you can probably get missionary working here. Cowgirl will still work. Doggy might, if you can get up on your knees on the back seat, maybe.
I don't know if you have enough headroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So turtle.
It's a turtle.
Okay, so let's move on to SUVs. So if you have a 2-row SUV, and it basically comes down to, do your seats in the back lay flat or not? If they lay
is
flat,
this like the same as minivan?
No, minivan would be different.
You don't have a minivan category.
That minivan is not included.
We'll add minivan. Don't worry, we won't forget about you.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, if the back seats go down, great. A 3-row SUV, again, if the back seats lay down, you're going to have lots of room. If you have a 3-row SUV where the middle row is captain seats, so it's like 2 with a space in the middle,
right,
then the back row middle seat will be good because you can stretch your feet out and have a little bit more space that way. And so this would kind of be like a minivan one. If you have stowaway middle seats, then you guys are golden. You got a whole middle section of the vehicle between the front row and the back row where it's basically you can lay down and pretty much do whatever. A truck's going to be the same as a sedan. Some of the trucks these days, like if you have a 2-row cab, the back row is actually really roomy. So you'll have lots of room back there. If you want to use the passenger seat, again, put it all the way back. Some people in the comments on our Instagram post were talking about using the driver's seat. That just doesn't seem like a smart idea because it's the least amount of space in the whole vehicle because you got the steering wheel there.
Yeah.
So I would say get out of the driver's seat unless you are moving and roadheads happening. Get out of the driver's seat. The big plus of the truck is if you want to go out into the country, throw a mattress down in the bed of the truck, and then you guys can have at her in any way you want. And lastly, if you got a work vehicle like a cargo van or a Sprinter van, you're going to be pretty set here because you got tons of space to sprawl out and do it as you wish. So I don't own a minivan, but you two own minivans. So I'll let you guys take over a minivan category here.
I mean, it's basically the same as a sedan. You covered everything. There isn't anything really unique about it. I mean, if you have the old school van where you have 2 benches,
right?
Usually one of those benches can still come out. Usually the middle one, right?
Yeah, and if
Those
not, it'll slide forward at least, or back.
So you get more room.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, lastly, best positions. Cowgirl is going to be the easiest, especially if you are going to be in a tighter space. He's going to be seated. She's going to climb on top. That's pretty much your only option in a lot of vehicles, especially the smaller ones. Missionary can be an option, again, if you've got a bench or a back seat or something like that where there's enough room for one of you or her to lay down. Again, this is where having comfort for her head would be nice because she's probably leaning or laying on something hard and plasticky.
The car door.
Yeah, exactly.
Your head.
Yeah, so guys, give her your shirt as a pillow, or if you have something more comfortable, use that. And then, yeah, you can do oral. So again, laying in the back seat, either of you can lay down and receive oral. And we don't condone this, but those of you who are roadhead fanatics, while driving, she can be in the passenger seat and lean over and give him a blowjob. And I had to say this one last thing. There is a book called the Karma Sutra.
Oh,
And
I thought you just spelt it wrong.
Yeah, I thought you spelled it wrong too.
it is called the
Whatever.
Kama Sutra, and it's about best positions for doing it in cars and all of the applicable details. I thought that was hilarious.
That is hilarious. That's a
That's
great.
funny.
Yeah.
All right, so like what we said, we did do some research here for this episode, and so we all experimented in our own vehicles and are going to share some of the things that we learned. So I will hand it off to one of you two to kick this section off.
Okay,
Well,
I can
I'll
start. Oh, no, you go start.
Wow, they're so eager.
No, I was just going to say that I think we have plethora of car stories from our honeymoon until now. So it's fun. And yeah, preparing makes it the best, I think, because you have all the stuff ready. It's nice when you have kids at home and you have a babysitter and you don't want to come home to like awkwardly say like, okay, hey, babysitter, like, yeah, you
Let
need
me
to
drive
go.
you home now or whatever.
And in particular, because usually our babysitters are our parents. And so then that just kills the mood because then we end up staying and chatting with them for a little bit before they leave. And then by then the mood's done. So car sex is, yeah, on the table.
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
Coconut, they're singles.
Oh, yeah.
Would be
good
a handy
call.
thing to have
Yeah.
in a purse or in a stow thing in the vehicle.
Yeah.
Because it's like a little lube packet that you could just open up, like one single use lubricant on the go.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah. Didn't even think about the lube aspect of this, but yes, have some lube nearby.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just have fun with it because you're going to get in awkward positions where you're like, okay, my leg is cramping.
Yeah.
I want like this, you know, you just, it's fun. It's a different type of experience. Yeah. It's fun. Try it. Do it. Okay. That was my spiel.
So up until the research for this episode, this is not something that had ever happened for us. Ever.
Nice.
I know. And so we had to research. So, yeah, I chatted afterwards. I was like, okay, Jeff, so like, what are your thoughts on this? Right? Like, how is that? What do you think? And we were like, if you're traveling somewhere, the two of you, and the desire for sex, like you have the desire, like the urges, and you like want each other right now, awesome. Like would be a great, you're on the go. Let's do it. Yeah, a great option. If you just want to have car sex for the sake of having car sex, it wasn't the best. Like it's not the best sex of your life because you're in a car, right? Like you're in a vehicle, so it's not gonna be maybe as good as it could be in a different place. So is it a fun thing to do to try? Yeah. Is it more fun if it was like the moment was like you wanted it spontaneously and so you just like had to have each other and so you had car sex? Yeah, that would be better than just doing it to do it. So there you go.
I would generally agree with what you said at the end there, Alana. Like, yeah, it's not going to be the best sex if you take the experience in a vacuum, but if you take the whole experience as a whole, it can be some of the most memorable sex.
Totally.
Yeah, sweet. Any final thoughts? I don't have anything else for this, but actually, I do have one more thing. So we polled you guys on Instagram and tried to see how many of you have done this. And we were all shocked by the response. We did not think it was going to be as close as it was. So in your head, listeners, I want you guys to guess what the final vote came out at. So all we said was, have you ever done it in a vehicle? That was the question. And the options were yes or no. And the whole time, I monitored this all day yesterday. It was 51-49. And it was 51-49 in favor of no. And then just before we started like recording this episode earlier today, it flipped and went 51-49 yes. So the final vote was 51% no and 51% yes, 49% no. And there was almost 7,000 votes. And it was within like 200 votes. So it was very close.
That is really close.
Easy. Okay, what did you guys think it would be?
Oh, I thought it was going to be
no.
like 85 no, yes 15. Like I thought it was going to be an overwhelming majority no.
Yeah. Maybe like 60-40 for no.
That's so funny. In my head, I was like, well, hasn't everybody tried it at least once? So to me, I just live in a different world, apparently.
Apparently.
Seriously. Yeah.
Okay. That's fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Any final thoughts before we pray?
Well, you didn't share your thoughts or tips, Kyle, about car sex, did you?
Well, he just kind of agreed.
I said that I agreed with how you finished,
Right.
and yeah, the experience could be super memorable, but probably not because the sex was like mind blowing.
Right.
I will say we've only trialed one of our vehicles, our bigger vehicle. We haven't tried our smaller vehicle yet, so I'll report back when that happens, if that happens. But yeah, the bigger vehicle definitely helps. The back seat is our preferred spot because you can push the middle seats forward and you've got more room to do more things, which makes it more pleasurable because you're not stuck in one position.
It's also funny when you are driving around looking for a spot, then later, like the next day or two, when you're driving around, you'll notice and be like, oh, that would have been a good spot. Remember that for next time.
Right. Oh, I'll say one more thing. We did it in our driveway. So we didn't actually drive around to find a spot. And so I haven't had the full experience. Actually, well, we have done it not in the driveway, but I haven't had the full experience of like, hey, we got to drive around and find a spot now. And it was a little bit awkward because we live on a corner and there's a street light like in my front yard that illuminates my whole front of my house. And I mean, the tinted windows were a godsend in that moment.
One other thing I was going to say too is the His Pleasure sex challenge. So that one is the like the one that's themed for Father's Day. There is a car sex day in there.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. Maybe that's why so many people have had car sex. It's because they've got our challenge.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I themed it towards all things stereotypical fathers. And so
nice.
Cars is one of them, right?
Yes.
Right,
So if you want to check that one out, it's really like there's fishing, there's
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other ones are. There's some really cool creative ones. Anyway, the car one.
Golf, too, I feel like.
Yes, golf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, go check that one out.
All right. I will pray. God, thank you so much for sex and the freedom that we have. And thank you for Henry Ford and inventing the car and giving us the opportunity to do sex in fun places like a vehicle. We ask that this wouldn't be a bone of contention in any marriages where one spouse really wants it and the other one doesn't, that it would be something that is fruitful and exciting and, like we said, would be a memorable experience, even if it's not the best sex they've ever had, that it would just be an overall fun experience for couples to enjoy together. Amen.
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 Hey friends, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like our content, please like, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, and tell your friends too. Thanks so much for journeying with us today as we tackled the hard questions and dive deep into godly intimacy. Make sure you follow us on Instagram to see more of our content and check the show notes for any links we might have mentioned in today's episode. We're so grateful to be on this journey with you, and we can't wait to see you in the next episode.